Hello everybody and welcome back to Full House Sports. First things first, I want to say a little bit of an apology. Haven't been uploading for the last couple of days. Had a couple of health scares / being away. It's been a bit of a long one, but listen, you don't need to know that. So apologies for that, but as always, we move. So, got in last night after getting back to the airport. Thought I'd chill out, watch a bit of the boxing. Frank Warren had a good card on. I actually got to say that, before anything else, I thought the card was good. That's what we need more of. You know, I've been moaning about British fight nights for the last couple of weeks, and they're not there. That's what we need more of. Could it have probably been done at a better location? I think 100% it could have been done at a better location. Cop Live, I heard people saying it was dead empty for the main event. But it's what we need more of. Domestic fights. You know, Bradley Ray, Lyndon Arthur is exactly what we need. Manchester Derby for a European title. Are either man world champions? No. But are they both going to come to fight? Yeah, 100%. And it was a very entertaining scrap. So, love that card in terms of the matches. But there is one thing I didn't like. And it's been, again, another rant incoming. Last week it was Howard Foster. This week it's going to be judges. Judges in boxing. You are ruining careers. There's no other way for it. You are ruining careers. And we can moan, and I'm sorry as well, the people in boxing can try and justify as much as they want. You know, people can try and justify it, but we as fans, we're not idiots. We can see it with our own eyes. Firstly, the Liam Cameron fight. How anyone has scored that 97-93 Cameron. You can have your opinions. I did think Cameron's crept into it in the back end of the fight. I could see it being a draw, actually. But to have it 97-93 Cameron is outrageously bad. Outrageously bad. And then came the main event. Well, the main event, the styles didn't gel. Josh Buatsi, just a side note, disappointed, to be honest. Disappointed as a whole in his career, I guess, because I remember watching him on, I think it was the Lomachenko-Luke Campbell card. I went to that fight at the O2, and it was talk after that with Eddie Hearn-Neville was, it's going to be the next big thing. Like, you know, Kovalev and Stevenson were sort of drifting away from the light heavyweights, and it was going to be Buatsi and Bivol, and they were on a collision course, and it was going to be these young pretenders. It just hasn't happened. And I've got to say as well, the man knows far more about boxing than I do, but Virgil Hunter as a trainer, I mean, someone tweeted it, and I sort of agree. Andre Ward might be the most naturally gifted boxer ever, because, I'm sorry, I think Virgil Hunter's not improved Josh Buatsi. I think he's actually made him worse. But that's not the point. The point is, the fight wasn't great, but Josh Buatsi didn't win that fight. And officiating in the UK is becoming a joke. Now, they used to say about Germany, I remember as a kid, growing up and watching German fight nights, they used to say you needed to get a knockout to get a draw. And I can name you multiple fighters who have been screwed over in Germany. Robin Reed comes to mind straight away. Matthew Macklin comes to mind. Martin Murray comes to mind. All guys that have been screwed over in Germany. Paul Smith, I don't necessarily think he beat Arthur Abraham in the first fight, but some of the cards for that fight I remember being horrendous. I think would have had Paul Smith only winning 2 rounds. It was awful. We're getting to that point in Britain, and I'm sorry, but we don't want to accept it. We can bury our head in the sand. We don't want to become another Germany. You don't want it to be that fighters are going, I don't want to come here. Now, I know the judges for the Buatsi Park card are international judges. So actually, that's more of an issue in terms of how judges are held responsible. But we're at a point now where we're going, like, we just know decisions are going to stink. And I've got a list here of fights that come to mind this year where I've either thought the cards are outrageous, or I've thought that the stoppages were too early, or others. And I may miss some off, so I do apologise in advance for that. So I've got Simpson-Woodall, right at the start of the year. Callum Simpson, first Sky Show, I think it was, of the year. Horrendous stoppage. Don't need anyone, and no one can tell me there was. Awful stoppage. I've got Whittaker Cameron 2. Awful stoppage. Far too early. Cameron was still responding to punches. Referees jumped in far too soon. I've obviously got last night's 2. Cameron and Jones. I've got also, of course, Parker Wardley last week is another one you've got. So there's 5 off the top of my head. There's countless others that you could think of where you're going, that is an awful decision. How have you come to that conclusion? Even looking at, and I like Lewis Crocker, but even looking at the Crocker Donovan 2, I've got a question about there, because some of them cards were iffy. I thought. And we can't get to a stage where in Britain we are like what Germany was like 10, 15 years ago. Because people won't come here. And we need to protect boxing. And we need to make it a case of, you know, we don't want it to be a reputation of, well, they're always going to pick the promoter's favourite. They're always going to pick the contender. They're always going to pick the story. It can't be that. Because if it gets to that stage, then people will stop coming here. And people will turn off as well. If it becomes almost a WWE scenario. There's others here as well that I've probably missed off. And I apologise in advance if I've missed them off. But there's been some real shockers the past few years in British boxing. And they're not getting any better. Taylor Catterall I've got down here because that first one was awful. We all know it was awful. Something's got to be done. Now, someone said to me last week on the Parker Wardley video, well, what can you do about it? Tell you what you can do. You set up an independent panel. You know, Chris Eubanks said it the other week about Robert Smith, the British Boxing Board of Control. Where are all this money going? Now, yes, a lot of it should come to aftercare for fighters. We've seen that with Ricky Hatton, God rest his soul. But as well, surely there's enough money there, with sanction fees and everything else, to set up an independent body who are going to hold these people accountable. Why did you score that round that way? Why did you score that fight that way? That's what should be happening. Because if not, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose all face. British Boxing Board of Control, I think, for me, as an organisation, are a joke. The promoters don't care as long as they're getting what they want. And you're having a really bad reflection upon British boxing. And that's not good. And I care a lot about British boxing. And I don't want to see it go down that route. But let's know what you guys think. Anyone who watched the card. Like I said, Buatsi just touch on it. Buatsi did not look good. Really didn't. What a strange career. Shame for the guy because I really like him. But he didn't win that fight. But let's know what you guys think. As always, please like the video. Please comment. And please subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated. I will be more back on it now. Hopefully, I'm at the back end of this, well, whatever this is that's going on inside here. So, have a great day. Thank you very much.